You hit record? All right, there we go. Great. Hello, everyone, and welcome in. Thank you for joining us today and joining the class. We are going to be doing some Halloween conversation. I know it's not quite October yet, but we are in getting ready mode for Halloween. So we're going to talk about some quick and easy costumes you can make with your Cricut machine. And then since you are the master of the chaos, our project today is to make a Boo Crew shirt with personalization on it. So why don't I go ahead and share my screen here. Let me just grab make sure I have the right program up here. We're going to go like this. Let me get back at the beginning. Okay. Sorry, let me just go like this. And then here we go. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Ooh, a little trouble here. Sorry about this, everybody. Let's go here. We're going to share our screen. And this is just my presentation for you all with ideas. Now, this class is being recorded. So the recorded version of the class will be available on YouTube after the class. So if you miss any of these details, they will be there. Also, if you have questions as we move through, I have Anita on the chat ready to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, just drop them in the Q&A at the bottom bar of your screen and we'll get those questions answered for you. So this is the how to get the best costume award with Cricut. Group costume ideas. Now, sorry, went a little faster. Trying a new program. One thing that is a quick and simple project is to do a candy inspired costume. So you can take the S from Skittles with a variety of colored shirts that match the colors in Skittles and make a group shirt that way, group costume. Also, M&Ms are always very popular to do, as well as superheroes are really easy to do when you have a rainbow of t-shirt colors to work with. Emojis are a fun way to just grab everybody a yellow t-shirt. And if you're working in an office, grab your favorite emoji that represents your coworkers, and you can put emojis on everybody's face and on everybody's yellow t-shirt. And if you have some, you can do the brown t-shirt too for the poop emoji or any emojis that represent the people in your group Halloween party. Now, another easy one to do is where you do the same shirt, but change it up just a little bit for each person. So to do the domino shirt, you just in Design Space, there are domino patterns. So you can just grab a few of the domino designs, cut them out of white iron-on material, and then adhere that to a shirt. Always a fun way. And then this is one of my favorites. It's very simple to do. Just grab everybody an orange shirt and take a different pumpkin face design and put that on a shirt, and everyone kind of gets to carve out their own design. You can mix and match different parts of the pumpkin faces. So, maybe you have a smiling mouth, but you want more evil looking eyes. So you can just grab those images on the eyes from one pumpkin image and apply them to another pumpkin image. Now, this is one that if you're familiar with the game Cards Against Humanity, it's an ask and respond card game. So there's one card that asks a question, and then everyone puts in their response that matches best with the shirt. So if you're doing a couple's costume or just two people, you can kind of maybe if there's an inside joke question that you can put on one shirt. This one's what's a girl's best friend? And then the partner wears a shirt that corresponds with the question. So your answer might be coffee, or if you're at a late night party, you could say alcohol or fireball or date nights or me time, whatever is the appropriate response. Now, if you're working with a group of people, you can have one person wearing the shirt. So the question might be, what's that sound? And if you're in a school environment, you know, the answers might be fourth grade or science, monsters in the hall, anything like that. And you can really have a lot of liberty with this type of design because the responses are intended to be funny and poke fun at, you know, yourself or other people. So this costume gives you a lot of humor, and it's really super simple to use. I created these using the Cricut Sans font, and you can just use white and black vinyl. And the punctuation on the Cards Against Humanity is always kind of a funny little add-on there. Now, this is another really fun costume you can make for a group of people, and the theme being if the shoe fits. So everybody picks their colors for their tights and their leggings and their shirts, and then you can make really quick shirts out of a variety of different vinyls and layering the vinyl. So this costume theme is if the shoe fits, and then you have your little witch's shoes. Now, another fun one for couples is the dash and the salt and pepper costumes here. Those are really fun. So today's class, we're going to be making a shirt that uses vinyl, iron-on vinyl. And we're going to talk about a couple different types of iron-on vinyl. But to make the project with me, you need to have a blank t-shirt. I'm using a black one. You could really use any gray or white. And we're using iron-on vinyl, so orange, and you can use depending on the color shirt. So since I have a black shirt, I have white vinyl. If you're using a white shirt, you might want to have black vinyl. I'll be using the Easy Press and an Easy Press mat along with my Cricut Maker 3. You can use your home iron too if you don't have an Easy Press yet. You can certainly do that. Now, when it comes to sizing out your design for your shirt, I have a guide here, and we'll drop a link to this guide in the chat so you can go to the link and download this. This is just a rule of thumb guide I use so that I get the right size design for the shirt. And when you're working with a group of people, you're going to have people in all different size shirts. So you kind of want to be aware of when you're making that extra large shirt, how big the design should go versus an extra small shirt. So I use this as a rule of thumb and then adjust depending on the design and the shirt. So today I'll be using the Easy Press 3, which works with the Heat app from Cricut. If you don't have the Heat app on your mobile device, it is an app, and this is the image of the app, the logo of the app, that little blue logo right there. Not only does it work with your Easy Press 3s because those are Bluetooth compatible, but you can access the Heat guide through the Easy Press app. Now, the reason that that's good is you want to make sure that you have the right temperature settings to match your materials and your blanks. And we'll do that through the Easy Press. I'll use the Easy Press 3 and show you how to do that on your mobile device. But if you're working on a home iron, you don't have an Easy Press, here's a few tips for using your home iron. One is that you want to make sure your steam is turned off and that you have your machine set to the highest setting. Usually that's the linen setting. And you don't want to have any moisture in your shirt. So you want to make sure that the steam is turned off, and you want to preheat your garment about 10 to 15 seconds with a preheat. You place your weeded image liner side up, and then you press with your iron. And I usually do not slide my iron across. I will press, pick up, and press and put down for about 30 seconds on each section of my design. And then you'll flip your material over, your t-shirt over, and iron from the back another 25 seconds. So there also should be directions on your packaging to tell you your instructions on how to iron it, but you can also go to the Cricut website and get the Cricut Heat Guide instructions. Now, here's the shirt we're going to be using today, the Boo Crew, and I'm going to show you not only how to grab this image, but also how to change the colors of the image and how to personalize it with your name because you are the master of the Halloween chaos. And if you'd like to, you can find the project on my profile page. It's called Boo Crew is the project name, and I'll show you how to do that. But if you are looking for my profile in Design Space, this is what you're looking for. It's Kesley Anderson. And then if you want to connect with me, or if you have questions after the class, please feel free to reach out to me on my YouTube channel, Instagram, and Facebook. So let's get working. Let me just stop sharing here. And again, if you have any questions throughout the class, if you're working with me in Design Space, which I want to invite everybody to open up Design Space and work with me on the project, even if you're not cutting it out today, just to walk along with me. What I like to do is the first step, I'll say, this is the first step, here's what we're going to do. I'll show you what we do, and then I'll repeat it again in case you're switching between two screens. What I like to do when I'm watching a Zoom class, if possible, is I'll watch the Zoom class on one device, like my iPad or something, and I'll do the project on my desktop or laptop. So I'm showing you today from my desktop. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to open up Design Space. So I want to invite everybody who's working with me today to go ahead and open up your Design Space, and we're going to come into the home screen. So from the home screen, we're going to start a new project, and you just go up to the header bar here and click on New Project. Now, if you haven't worked with your Design Space very much, we do have a Cricut 101 class on the Michael's YouTube channel, which is a great introductory to Design Space, and it kind of gives you a walkthrough. So I want to encourage anybody who, if this is your first class or you're just getting comfortable with Design Space, to watch those earlier videos to give you a bigger, broader understanding of Design Space. Now, once you're in your canvas, this is what your canvas will look like. It's a blank canvas. And we'll go to the left side here. This is the, I call this the insert panel. And this is where we find text, images, and shapes to add to our canvas. Now, if you're joining me on a laptop, it'll be in the same space. But if you're on like an iPad or a phone, you need to look along the bottom of the Design Space to the image icon, and it should be in the bottom left, and it's a hot air balloon like this, and it says Images. When you click on that, you can access all of the Cricut images in Design Space. So today I'm going to work on an image called the Boo Crew. And we'll pull up, and you see there are quite a lot of images available. So we did have a glitch this morning. This image here, the Boo Crew that I've got the green box around, this was supposed to be a free image for the class today. And for some reason, I couldn't get it to show up free. If you have Design Space, you can certainly work with this image. And we can work with this image. It just will, if you don't have Cricut access, you'll be charged a fee when you go to cut it. But if you have Cricut access, you have access to this image. We'll continue to work on this, and hopefully this afternoon we can finish getting this one set up as free for the class. So with the Boo Crew here, we're going to, with that one selected, we're going to add this to the canvas. So you just select the image and you add it to the canvas, and now we have that image on our canvas. And let me show you another way to find an image. You can find an image using the image ID number. So let me show you this image ID number. Here it is right here, and I'll read it out to you. So if you need to type it in to find the image, you can do that. It is hashtag. So you always want to have a hashtag at the beginning of your image number, uppercase M26 E095 F9. F is in Frank. And also keep in mind, you want your uppercase and lowercase to be, it's case sensitive. So these are all uppercase letters. And then once you've found the image you want to use, we just click on that image, which puts the green box around it. And then at the bottom right of the screen, you can add that to your canvas, and it brings that image right onto your canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that image. Now, you'll notice in the final image I showed you that we're going to use today, I changed the colors of my design. So I had one, part of it was white and part of it was orange. But if you look in Design Space, it's all one layer. And so when you send this over to your machine to cut, it would cut it out of one color of material. So at this point, there's two different things we need to do. One is to change the colors. So it's black and we want to change it to white and orange. And the second thing is to break the design apart. And to break the design apart, we're going to use something called contour. So if you want to have your eyes on my Design Space, I'm going to show you how to do those two steps, and then we'll back up and I'll walk you through them if you're following me. So first we're going to click on the Boo Crew layer. So you can see it's the only layer in my layers panel, and I'm going to duplicate this layer. Now to duplicate it, there's a couple different steps. Since I'm on a keyboard, I can just do Control-C and Control-V, and it duplicates it for me just like that. If you are on an iPad, you can go into your edit bar, I believe. Along the bottom, you want to click on Edit, and you'll find Duplicate. It's either under Edit or Actions. I'm not sure which one. And you'll find a duplicate, an icon that says Duplicate, and that will bring up two images on your canvas. So to change the color, all you need to do is have the layer selected, and on the edit bar, you find the box that's the color of the current layer. So my layer is black, and I have my box up on the edit bar, and I'm going to change that to white. So I'm just going to change that to white, and then I'm going to change this one to orange, like that. So now I have a white one and an orange one. Now you could go ahead and cut this out and then piece it back together, cut one out of white and one out of orange. But I'm going to show you a way to reduce the amount of material you're using. We're going to take both of these layers and align them so they're aligned right on the center. So to select both layers, I click out on the blank space of my canvas. So I have nothing selected. And then I draw a box around the two images. In your edit bar, you select Align and align those center. So now those are right on top of each other. Now what I want, and I'm keeping the positioning of those, even though when I cut them, they'll cut out separate. You'll see why in just a second. So with my image, I want to have my shirt Boo done in orange and my The Crew in white and the ghost in white. So what I'll do is I'm going to select just my orange layer, and then in the action panel you want to select contour. Now you can only contour one layer at a time. So down at the bottom of my layers panel on my desktop, I'm going to select contour. If you're on an iPad, it's going to say action. You want to click the action button and then select contour. Then you can click on whatever you want to remove from the image. So I'm going to remove everything that has to do with the words the and crew and this little ghost. So let's see if I can get him to clear out of here. And then you just click the X and you'll see that it's removed portions of the design. So I still have that big ghost I need to get rid of. I'll show it over here. That way you can see how I do it. And let's do contour again. And then I just need to find that ghost layer. He's right there. So now when I go to cut it, it will just cut the Boo out of the orange. But on the white, I also want to remove the white Boo. So now I will just go to the white layer and I'll say contour, and I'll contour the Boo out of the design. So I'm just going to contour the Boo out of my design and just leave the ghost and the words the and crew. So now you can see I've cut out the portions of the design that I don't want to actually cut for my shirt. And then the last step will be to resize the design on my shirt. And usually I'm using a small shirt, so I might go like 7.5 inches. So it's going to be about 10.5 inches high. So I'll just measure on my shirt and make sure that that's the right size I want. Okay, so now if you watched along, you saw what I did with my design. And I'm going to take us back to where we started with having the design on our canvas. And I'm going to walk you through this step by step. How to duplicate a design, how to contour out parts of the design, and how to change the colors. So with the Bucru on your canvas, we're first going to duplicate it. On my keyboard, I'm going to do Control Copy, which is Control C, and Control V, which is paste. If you're on an iPad, you can do that in your in the edit bar on your iPad. So you want to have two versions of the same design on your canvas. Okay, so go ahead and copy your design and have two designs on your canvas. Once you have those two designs on your canvas, we're going to change the color. So first you'll select one design. So you notice right now I don't have any of my designs selected and I just need to select one. So I'm going to grab this first one on the left and I just click on it and I get the box around it and that lets me know I've selected that image. And then I go up to the color square. I select the color square and I change that color to white. Now I have my first layer is white and I'll duplicate the same step on the second image here, changing this one to orange. And there we go. So now I have a white version of the image and an orange version of the image. And you can choose, like when we get to cutting and pasting, maybe you want to keep Boo white with the ghost white. So you can choose what you want to contour out of each side, out of each shape. So for my purposes, I'm going to select both of those layers. So you'll drag your mouse across both of those layers. So you have both selected and we're going to align to the center. So there we go. And then you click anywhere on the canvas. Now you don't have either layer selected. Let's go to the orange layer first. So I go to my layers panel and I select my orange layer. And from here, I'm going to remove contour out everything but the word Boo. So let me just, I'm going to go in a little bit bigger here for everybody so you can see my canvas a little bit better. Okay, so now with just the orange layer selected, my contour action icon is alive. So I just click on that contour. And if you're on an iPad, remember contour is you're going to find that under the actions. So once you click on that contour button, your hide contour layer pops up and you just can start clicking either within the image on what you want to remove, or you can click in the side panel here. So if I know I'm going to get rid of the ghost, I can click on that and hide that guy out of there. And I can also click on it in here. So I'm going to get rid of the crew word and the inside and the word W. So that's what I want to choose out of my design. Now you may want to say, you know what, I really want the Boo Crew to be in orange and I just want the ghost to stay white. So then you would choose to select out different portions of the design of what you want to keep orange and white. Totally up to you as the designer. Okay, oops. I got little on that one. Let me get rid of that little insert piece of the R. There we go. Okay. So now I have my orange is sliced out. So I just have Boo will be cut from orange. And then I'm going to contour again on the white layer. So you want to select the white layer and do the contour again. And if anybody's having any troubles with this, please do not hesitate to ask in Q&A. If you have any questions about it or you're not sure how to work it, let us know. So what I want to do is contour out the word Boo on the white. So I should be able to see that. There we go. So I'm just checking on all those little boxes there and getting rid of those different pieces. And you can check, oops, I still have part of my B on there. So I'm going to go back to my white layer and I'm going to contour that out again. Okay, let's see, did that work? Nope, now I have my inside of my bee. So sometimes it's a little tricky to see. So you just have to kind of be a little patient, and you'll notice it goes to a lighter gray color. All right, so I think that did it. And I just move that over, and then I Control-Z and line it back up. Now, the reason I keep it lined up is so that I can resize it and make sure I have it the right size that I want. And I'm going to add, I have the Boo Crew is all done. I have my orange and my white. And the last part we're going to add to this is Chaos Coordinator and a name. If you want, or you can just say Chaos Coordinator or just a name. If you have a team of Chaos Coordinators, you can do that. So I'm just going to add a text box. So if you want to watch, I'll show you how to add text to this image. So on my insert panel here on the left, I select the word text, and I just type in Chaos Coordinator and my name. And I can change the color of this to the orange if I want, which may be kind of fun. And then you can resize your design so that it will go underneath, right underneath your name. Right underneath your design. So see how that's working out right there? And maybe I'll go a little bit smaller and make my height of my Chaos Coordinator to be right like that. Chaos Coordinator Kesley, my Boo Crew shirt, and I'm ready to go. Now, excuse me, I want everything to line up. Again, so if you want to watch, I'll show you how I can select all 3 layers here and make sure everything's lined up on the center. So I select with my cursor all 3 layers, and in the edit bar, I select align, and then I want to center it horizontal so that everything lines up perfectly. And if you want to, you can change your font here. So with the text, you can change the font and go up to fonts, and you can choose a different font if you'd like to. If you don't have Cricut access, you can filter to the free fonts. If you have Cricut access, you can choose really any font you want. Is almost all the fonts except for licensed fonts are not included. So you can change your font in there. So let's find one that would look cute with this. Kind of a handwritten font to go with that crew word. It's pulling up my fonts. Here we go. So let's see if we can find a handwritten font that would kind of go with that design. Maybe this one, the Wild Thing, or the 3rd grade, or even this one might be cute. This is called BFC Thankful Blessed. Sunshine Maker, that might be kind of fun too. So you can just play around with your fonts a little bit. Oh, there we go. Chaos Coordinator Kesley. And that one was called Sunshine Maker. And then I'm just going to change that to 1/2 inch in height. Go a little bit smaller. There we go. And then again, select all 3 and align to the center, horizontal. There we go. Now everything's lined up. Okay, so let me show you how I added my text again. If you're watching along, we're going to do that one more time. You're going to go to the left to the insert panel and add text, and just type in whatever you want to say. Like you could just have your name if you want. If you want to, you could maybe say Leader Kesley. If you're the leader dude, you could just put that in there. Or you could, if it's a company or a team that you're working on, you could put your name in there. I kind of like the Chaos Coordinator because a lot of times, or Meltdown Manager is another fun one. A lot of times that's kind of what the role is. If you're organizing things, it falls into that. So then you can just put Chaos Coordinator, or even put that on the back of the shirt. That would be fun too. Just put that along the back across your shoulders. Would be kind of fun. And then I'm just going to change the height of that to about 1/2 inch. And then I can put that onto my shirt. Okay. All right. So now I'm actually going to hide this, adding that onto my shirt right now, because I think I may want to put that on the back of my shirt. So now once you've got your Boo Crew, and if you want to customize it down in the front, you can do that. And we're going to go ahead and send it to the machine to cut it. Before I do that though, let me stop share here. And I want to show you how I measure my shirt. So over on my camera here, I have on my table, I have my shirt and I'm just going to pull it out. So usually, like I said, with a small size shirt, I like to make my design about 7.5 to 8 inches across. So it'll be about that wide. That's 7.5 inches. So in Design Space, when I change my design to 7.5 inches, it becomes 10.5 inches long. So I might want to see if that is too long or about where I want it to be. So that looks pretty good there. Still gives me plenty of room on the bottom to change it, to tuck my shirt in or anything like that. So I'm going to go with that measurement. So I'll go back and we'll start sharing Design Space again. Oops. Here we go. So I think I changed the design to 7.5 inches wide. Just change that 7.5. And that makes that 11.25. So that's a little bit longer than I want. That 10 inches looked good. So I'm going to change that back to 7 inches and gives me about 10.5 inches in length, the length of the shirt. So then I'm ready to send it over to my machine and have it start cutting. Now, if you want to, you can save space and you could have moved that up there, or you can put down two separate pieces of white vinyl iron-on material. So you cut it there. I'm actually going to go ahead and cut mine keep it together like that. And then I have Boo that will cut out on the orange material. Now, one thing when you're working with iron-on material, you have to make sure in the Make It screen, you change it to mirror. So do you see how when I click that little icon there to mirror, turns it green and it flips my design around. The reason for that is because we actually have to cut on the back side of the material and then we turn it around when we iron it on. So now I'm just ready to send that over to my machine. Oops. Did I miss a step? Let's see. We have to go back. Okay, so it's got mirrored there, mirrored here. We're good. I'm going to hit continue. And yep, there we go. Now I'm using iron-on material. So I just select iron-on material and I'm going to remember my material settings so that it cuts. I'm cutting the same material, a basic iron-on material. Now, if I were using, say, if I have a glitter iron-on, an orange glitter iron-on, maybe that's what I want to use for the Boo, then I would change that material on this cut to become the iron-on glitter iron-on. And then I just use my fine point blade and my light is flashing. So I'm ready to come over here and put my material on my mat. Now, before I do that, actually, I guess I'll do that first and then we can talk about a little bit about different types of material. So I have this, I'm using the Cricut Everyday Iron-On, and you can use the Smart material or the Everyday Iron-On material. The difference is the Smart material will go into your machine without having to use a mat. So if you as the chaos coordinator are making a whole bunch of shirts for people in your office or your team or whatever it is, you can cut a lot of shirts at one time by using Smart material iron-on. And that works in your, without a mat, will work in your Maker and your Maker 3 and your Explore 3. If you're using a Maker or an Air Explorer, then you would just use your mat with the Smart material. So you can still use Smart materials in different machines. So for example, I have this Cricut Joy was the perfect color orange for my shirt. So I'll be using this material to cut out the Boo. But you could use, here's the glitter. Not fun how it's like a fluorescent color. Very fun. You will not get lost as the chaos coordinator in that shirt. So the iron-on material, while this is cutting, I'm going to talk a little bit about the iron-on material and how you know if you're putting it into your machine properly. Iron-on material has a clear, shiny sheet that holds your material together. So unlike vinyl, iron-on material doesn't stick until it's heated up. So you can see on the back of this, this is the material, this is the matte side, and this is the shiny side, which has the clear carrier sheet. So when I put it on my mat, I put the shiny side down, and then I just have the material side facing up. And that's why you have to mirror it, because we're putting it down like that when we get to it. So I'm just using everyday iron-on material and smart iron-on material. But what happens if you want to use, like an infusible ink material? Let me grab my other shirt here I have behind me to kind of talk a little bit about infusible ink. So this shirt here, I made this using infusible ink with the pattern. And then I put black iron-on material over it. And sometimes you want to get a color, like you want to use an infusible ink color on a black shirt. So infusible ink you have to use on a shirt that will, on a material that will receive the color. White glitter vinyl does that. So this shirt here, I didn't have my my glitter vinyl on hand when I made this shirt, but I really wanted to add the orange layer onto this. So I just put down a second layer of the white glitter. So these two words were both white glitter. And then I cut out the infusible ink sheet in the orange color, which was this one, and I placed that over the white glitter to get that orange color. So you can think about using infusible ink to layer on colored shirts just by using the white glitter underneath it. So Jamie says, I'm just so confused as to which side of the vinyl to put down. Jamie, what you want to do is we're cutting on the back side we're actually cutting on the material. And when I weed this out, you'll see that the white has, I lost my weeder. The white has it's a little hard to see on the white material. Let me see if I have let's see my little weeding tool. Here we go. I don't see my weeding tool, but I have this my sewing tool. I can use this. When I remove this, what you're doing is you're removing the vinyl that sets with heat. So iron-on material does not have any stick to it until you heat it up. So your iron-on material will just not adhere to your shirt until you heat it up. So you need to have this carrier sheet. So it's like transfer paper when you're using when you're working with vinyl, regular vinyl, you use a transfer paper to move your design from your vinyl backing to your blank. With iron-on, it kind of comes with that transfer sheet on it. So you want to make sure you're actually cutting out the material and not just the transfer sheet. So for this design and any iron-on type material you're working with, you want to make sure that you are cutting on the material and not the transfer sheet. So that's why you have to mirror your image. And then you cut on the material, and then we're going to flip it over. And once I get this all weeded, okay, here we go. We're almost there. I just get this, and I have this big chunk in the middle. You might want to cut that out so you can save that material. I just thought for this class, I wanted to show you all how it worked. So I left that there. All right, so here we go. And we've been doing a few classes with iron-on. So we do have some Michael's Cricut YouTube classes with iron-on, which are helpful. And then let's see, and just do it. You know, don't be afraid to make a mistake. You might make a mistake, but consider it part of the learning process. So we cut out the back of that white, and now you can see why I had to mirror it, because I'm going to put it down on my shirt like this. So now it's right side up. So let's repeat that same process with the orange material and cut out my orange material. Just want to make sure I have it the right size. So this is 8 inches wide. Okay, so I'm going to take my orange and go 8 inches wide here. And it's about 5 inches tall. So I just need to go 8 inches with my smart material. Now, this is a smart material for your Cricut Joy. So if I were using my Cricut Joy to cut this, I could just put this into my Cricut Joy and not even use a mat. But because I'm using my maker, I'm going to use a mat. Okay, so shiny side, dull side, and I'm putting it on my transfer sheet here. I mean, on my carrier sheet there. I use a brayer to put it down with, and then I'm just going to go like that, and I put that in there. Okay, so you see how I've got that now on my shirt? I mean, cutting out. And if that's not clear, please do ask. I'm happy to clarify anything I need to for you. So while that last one's cutting, I've got my Easy Press mat out, and I've got my Easy Press 3 is heating up for me. And I want to show you, I go a little bit darker in color. It's a little easier to see. So this is my, obviously my phone. This is the Cricut Heat Guide right here. So when I click on the Cricut Heat Guide, I can go into the Heat Guide settings. So if you're working away from your computer or something like that, and you need to know what your settings are for your materials, you can just open the Heat Guide from the app. Oops. And it takes you to the Cricut website. So it'll take you to the website, and then you put your transfer material and your base material, and it'll give you your settings. So I'm using the Heat Guide on my phone. I'm using the Easy Press app because I have an Easy Press 3. So I'll use my app to communicate with my machine, and I'll show you how I do that in just a second once we get this weeded. So Ban, I have a question. Why you waste the iron-on? I agree with you. I kept it there. I left that middle white iron-on there so I could show you the whole design. If I were doing this, if I were doing this for myself, I would have probably put 2 pieces of iron-on my mat, just where those words were cut, and not have cut that, or I would have cut that out and saved that for later. I do tend to be frugal on my crafting myself. So I left it there so I could show you all everything pieced together though. And I'm going to show you I'll show you 2 different ways too that you can, I wish I had my weeding tool. It's so much easier. Here it is. All right, here's my weeding tool. You can see how much easier it is. You just get a little piece underneath that iron-on, and then you can just peel that back. So you just hold on to the carrier sheet and peel back your iron-on like this. All right. Here we go. How fun is that? I love how easy the iron-on just separates and weeds. If you ever have a problem seeing where the lines are to weed out, I will use my bright pad from Cricut to see the lines. And if I'm in a pinch too, I can put it up against a window, and you can look through the light in the window will show through where your cut lines are. It makes it super easy to go through there. All right. So now here we go here. All right, so now I've got my 2 layers. And again, remember we put this down in the on our cutting mat like this, so that when it comes out, it's like that. And then my Boo Crew will go on top of that as well. So now you can see how my design is coming together. Now, if you had cut out this centerpiece, you would just line your top with the ghost on it. You would line that right above the word boo, and you'd have crew right underneath it. And then you could, as long as you didn't have your transfer overlapping, your package overlapping, you can do it in 1 press. I'm going to be doing it in 2 presses. First, I'm going to press my orange down, and then I'm going to press the white layer down. And that's I'm showing you that if you ever have to layer multiple colors. You can do either or first. You can do the white first or the orange first. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to grab my shirt and get it spread out here. So I'm just using, I've got the black Gildan shirt from Michael's, and I buy these a lot. I buy t-shirts quite a bit. So I always have a little stash to the side, and the black and the white and the gray are ones that are easy to keep on hand. But this would also look really cute on a pink shirt. I just picked up a pink shirt the other day. Okay, so with my Easy Press, I want to show you how that communicates. So you see I've got my Easy Press here, and I've already connected these 2 together because you can see the little Bluetooth sign there. The Easy Press comes with a cradle, so I can put that right on my work surface without worrying of it burning anything. And then I just select my Easy Press. I'm using the 9x9, and I'm starting a new project. Now, if you noticed, if I go back, you have it saved some of my last projects I used. So if I do Smart Iron On with 100% cotton, I can select that, and it already has all the details in there. But I'm going to start a new project, and I'm going to select my material. So it's Everyday Iron On right at the top there. And I'm putting on a 100% cotton shirt. And then I select Next, and I send those settings to the Easy Press. So now it's going to communicate, and it's telling me that it's set at 295 degrees, but it's going to need to get to 315. So it's got 3 minutes left to heat up, which actually will go really fast. So it's less than a minute here to heat it up. And again, like I said, if you're using your home iron, you want to make sure you have no steam settings and you have it on the highest setting. And then you're going to follow these same steps. So the first step is we're going to preheat for 5 seconds our material. And I'm going to set my little tray to the side here. And I'm going to bring this up on here, and I'm going to preheat for 5 seconds. Now, sometimes when I preheat, I will why does it say that? Apply pressure for 30 seconds. Let me go back. Okay, so sometimes when I do the preheat step, I actually will fold my shirt in half like this. So it makes it easier when I need to line up my material onto my shirt. So I just fold it in half like this. And let's see, there we go. So you fold that in half. You can do your preheat. And this is a good time to work at any wrinkles you might have in your shirt. So we do the preheat. And then I open it up, and I'm going to position my shirt on here. Now you can still, I have that center line, which is really helpful. And then I made a guide in Design Space that will help me line up my design as well. So I can put this centered on my shirt, and I usually run that edge right up to the edge of the collar. And we can put that right up there like that. And I like to give 2 to 3 fingers from the collar and the top of my design. So I'm just going to put that there. That gives me my 2 to 3 fingers. And then here's my design here. And to find the center, I'm just going to fold it in half and give a little press there. So we're going to put that right on the center of the design. And then you can take your tape measure and measure across from armpit to make sure you've got it set properly. And then I'm going to remove the white layer because I don't want, if I left the white layer on top of the blue layer, it would not do it right. And something's weird here. I'm not quite sure if I've got my settings right. It should be like, it's more, usually it's saying 30 seconds, but I know it's more than that normally. So maybe I have my settings wrong. Does that seem weird, Anita? It's saying to press it for 30 seconds.
That would be what I would expect.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe I'm just used to doing the infusible.
Yeah, the infusible is definitely longer.
Okay. I must have that on my brain. All right, there we go. So so I've already done the heat up step. I'm going to skip that step and I'm just going to press this down for 30 seconds. Let me just switch out my heat up. Okay, so now it's saying 330. Oh, I don't have the settings set. That's why. Okay. 4, 3, 2. See, it counts it down for me. Isn't that cool? Okay, so now I'm all ready. I'm going to put that down and 30 seconds, apply light pressure. So whether you're using an Easy Press 2, you just would change your temperature settings right here and your time settings right there. And then you just press it and say, okay, I'm going. If you're using your home iron, just hold it down. And then you can always pick it up and move it as you go. That's how I like to do it. And now, because I'm doing the orange layer first, the white layer is going to cover up my orange when I'm done. Now, if you're working, one thing I forgot to mention, if you're working with a home iron, I do not recommend using your ironing board because the ironing board has holes and your heat will go through the holes. So with your Easy Press mat, it really holds the heat in there. So I kind of like flap it around so that I can remove the decal when it's cool to touch. So I'm still a little bit warm there to touch. So I'm just gonna cool that off a bit. How's everybody doing? Now, after the class, I want to encourage everybody you can post your shirts on, if you use Instagram, you can post it to Instagram using the hashtag Cricut with Michaels or Make with Michaels. And I'm peeling it a little bit soon because I'm being impatient. So we're just going to peel this off here. Now, since this is my first layer, if it doesn't totally stick down, that's okay because I'm going to be adding a little bit more heat. If it's my last layer and it doesn't stick down, I want to make sure I apply more heat before I finish peeling it off. Okay, so there's my transfer. I peeled that off. Now I'm going to come back in with my Boo Crew here. And because this is so long, I'm probably going to have to, I'm probably going to do 2 heat settings on it. I'll do one at the top and then one at the bottom. And I'm going to skip the preheat because it's still, my shirt's still warm. But I lined up my middles here again. And then we're just going to bring this back over. Set up for 30 seconds. And we're going to hit that top part there. And let that go for 30 seconds with a little bit of light pressure. So what I would say is if you're using a home iron, and I'm saying don't use your ironing board. So what do? I use a kitchen, like my kitchen counter with a terry cloth towel down on it. It's okay. Jamie's saying her transfer sheet bent from the heat, and that's okay for that to happen. The transfer sheet doesn't matter. So as long as you're working on a flat surface for your design, you don't have to worry about the transfer sheet bending or anything like that. So you just want to make sure you're working on a flat surface. So again, the bottom part of it for 30 seconds, and then I'll show you how I normally would let it go. So one thing, if you peel it off before it has a chance to cool, so with the everyday iron-on, it is a peel when cool. If you peel your plastic off too soon, it can pull the letters off. So if I'm working on something at home, like the class, I kind of have to work quickly. So sometimes I have to pull it off a little bit sooner. But if I'm working home here and I'm working on a design, I will go walk away and do a load of laundry or do the dishes or something. Or if you're doing a whole bunch of them, you can stack them and then come back and peel them off later. So you want to follow the directions so you peel it at the appropriate time. And this is how I cool. So I just kind of flap it like this and I cool it like that. And so I cool it off. And while this shirt is cooling, let me show you real quick. I'm going to share in Design Space. I'm going to share my screen again because I want you all to make sure you guys can find these shirts. If you didn't get a chance to make it today, I want to encourage you to use Cricut Design Space because there are, sorry. Yes, I want to cancel that. Okay. In Cricut Design Space, you can find projects that you like. You can scroll down the home screen and you can find lots of fun projects that you like, what's trending right now. If you want to find somebody, so like if you want to find my projects for this class, all you need to do is search my name, and it's Kesley, Kesley Anderson. That's the easy part. And then at the bottom, you can see my projects I've shared. There's the other Boo Crew shirt and some fun little wine glasses and such. But if you scroll down to the bottom, you can find my profile. And when you go to my profile, you can see all the different projects that I've shared within Design Space. So if you want to do the project for If This Shoe Fits, here are some color combination ideas. And when you go into the project, you can say customize it and change it for however you need to change that project. So if you want to make the colors different or anything like that, your shirt's different, you can just do that right in Design Space. And then you would layer your different colors. And it's coming. It's a big project, I think. But so I'd love for you guys to find me, follow me. If you want the Boo Crew shirt that we're making today, that's one of my projects. And I have that one shared. The pumpkin faces, the dominoes. I think I need to add my picture, but here's that other spooky vibe shirt. So I want to encourage you guys to find projects you like, because sometimes as a beginner, it's nice to go, okay, somebody's done this project and it's worked out for them, so I can do it. Okay, so once it's cooled off, let's go back over to our overhead camera here. And I'll show you how we're going to peel that right off. Yep, it's nice and cool. So I'm just going to start at the corner. And then I peel it like a 45-degree angle. So you just kind of rock it back and forth and take it right off. And there we go. There's your Boo Crew shirt. How fun is that? And everything's adhered down. It's nice and solid, and it turned out great. Let me show you again. All right, here we go. Who's joining the Boo Crew? So I'd love to see what you guys do to your Boo Crew shirt, or if you use your Cricut to make a Halloween costume, please share it with us on any platform that you like using the hashtag Cricut with Michaels or Make with Michaels. And we'll see you next Monday for another fun class. Thanks everyone for joining us.